the little red light. That must mean we're recording. Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm happy to announce that our conference video now has more views than any other video that we have up. Last I checked it was 433 people have viewed it. That's really good. We'll see how high it gets. The sky is the limit. If you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. It's really, really great. Okay. It is July 3rd, and tomorrow is July 4th, which we celebrate as Independence Day in this country. And of course, what we are celebrating there is the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So a question that I am asking myself, and a guidance that I have gotten now with my 30 plus years of study of A Course in Miracles, is do we live in a physical world, or does the physical world exist strictly in our own minds? In other words, are we in the world, or is the world in us? And I frequently hear it said, and I have said it too, that while we're here in the world, we need to yada yada yada. And while we believe ourselves to be here walking around in this world, then this, that, and the other thing. And so I'm declaring my independence from that thought. I want to let go of that thought. I want to watch my own mind when I say something like that to myself and remind myself that I'm not living in the world. The world is living in me. And from the perspective of the world living in me, an entire different way of being evolves. And that is a truth. And it's a truth that is becoming self-evident to me. And we should think about what truths are becoming self-evident for us on Independence Day, because that is the perfect time to think about self-evident truths. Okay, so 4th of July, signing of the Declaration of Independence, 1776, it was signed. From what my study is, only a few people signed it actually on the 4th of July. That image that we have of all the founding fathers there signing the independence is only because of a famous painting that was made. It didn't actually happen that way. People came in over a period of a week, I think, to sign that document. But apparently the first signature was on July 4th. That is 240 years ago. So it's almost a quarter of a millennium, so you think about that. And of course, the famous phrase on that, which we think about, is we hold these truths to be self-evident. Okay, before I go on, realize that we generally think of Thomas Jefferson as writing the Declaration of Independence, but he did not write, we hold these truths to be self-evident. He wrote, we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable. And Benjamin Franklin came in and talked with him, and he thought sacred sounded a little too religious, and maybe they should choose another word. So he was the one, Benjamin Franklin, who came up with self-evident. And Thomas Jefferson said, oh, that's cool. We'll use self-evident. I mean, that's at least what my research has shown. Yeah. So we hold these truths to be self-evident, or sacred and undeniable, you choose, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So I want to talk a little bit about happiness, because I've been having a discussion on a Facebook group about happiness. And there's a lot of A Course in Miracles students in sort of an old school of interpretation that say A Course in Miracles isn't even really about being happy. I don't know, it's like, it boggles the mind that they would argue that point of view. If you're out there and thinking that A Course in Miracles does not ask you to be happy, I mean, really? I don't know how, I don't know how you can keep studying this book and think that somehow having a happier experience while we have the world in our minds is not what A Course in Miracles is about. Because it certainly is what it's about for me. Now, here's a quote from the Course. It says, to heal is to make happy. That's pretty clear, isn't it? I have told you before to think of how many opportunities you have had to gladden yourself and how many of them you have refused. This is exactly the same thing as telling you that you have refused to heal yourself. So if to heal is to make happy, and we're supposed to heal, we're supposed to be happy, we're supposed to gladden ourselves as many times, with whatever opportunities we have to truly gladden ourselves, that's what the Course really is about. That's what healing is. And I am definitely going to declare any independence from any thought that tells me that my experience is not about being happy. I definitely think my experience is about being happy. But there is this other thought of A Course in Miracles, and the thought usually says something like that the Course is really difficult to understand, that it's very cerebral, and that you got to watch out for that tricky, slippery ego, that you just got to be watching for the ego all the time, and that the ego will always trip you up and take control of even of your spiritual growth, so you're just not being aware of the ego, and that comes up a lot of times on the Facebook group. And I'm declaring independence from all of those thoughts. Don't give the ego that much power. The ego does not have that much power. The ego only has the power that you give to it, and if you give it the power that it's tricky and sneaky and so deep and powerful and it will get you at every turn, that's what it's going to seem like to you. And you got to declare your independence from that. I certainly am declaring my independence from that. A Course in Miracles isn't difficult to learn. Have that idea. Embrace that idea. Now, if you really embrace that idea, you know what? The Course in Miracles won't be difficult for you to learn. It'll be easy for you to learn because you've made it easy for you to learn in your mind by saying it's easy. The Course says this: for you who seem to find this Course too difficult to learn, let me repeat that to achieve a goal, and I had been told us that the goal was happiness, just a sentence before, that to achieve a goal, happiness, you must proceed in its direction, not away from it. If this is difficult to understand, then this Course is impossible to learn, but only then, for otherwise it is a simple teaching in the obvious. So the obvious thing is to keep walking towards your happiness. That, it's just about it. How difficult is that, really? How difficult is A Course in Miracles when that's the obvious teaching? And I actually, it boggled my mind. I actually watched this video that somebody had put on the Facebook group of a very highly respected A Course in Miracles teacher. I don't have to say the name of this person, but in this video, this highly respected Course in Miracles teacher actually said that when A Course in Miracles tells you that we're here to have a happy dream, that it doesn't really mean that you're going to be happy. This teacher actually said that. I was just like, oh my God, OMG, oh my God, that you can actually say that? I mean, how, and then this teacher began to describe what the Course actually meant when it said happy dream. That happy dream wasn't happy, it was a forgiving dream. And to be in a forgiving dream, you had to deal with all the ego stuff that comes up, and that's not happy. And I don't know. I declare my independence from any of those old ways of thinking about it. To heal is to make happy. We're here to be happy. Now, I'm wearing a little pin here I want you to see. We'll just put this over here. It's my Mickey Mouse pin. Okay, so I actually got this Mickey Mouse pin from Disney World. I was actually there. I wanted to get some souvenir from Disney World, and I wear pins, so I bought this Mickey Mouse pin. Now, Mickey Mouse, you got to think about Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was inherently happy. It was a given for Mickey Mouse. A Course of Love talks about things that are given, things that are just there, like unalienable rights. It's just a given for Mickey Mouse. He is always happy. Now, Mickey Mouse gets in a lot of trouble, and Mickey Mouse was sometimes a little sneaky and mischievous, and it would sometimes get him into trouble. But he always just worked through, never lost his faith, and always emerged triumphant. And if things got too tough, he just sang and danced. I mean, this was a great thing that was put into the collective consciousness. Mickey Mouse. We should all be a little bit of a Mickey Mouse. It's okay to be a little mischievous every once in a while and have a little fun. And when trouble comes up, just keep pushing through. And if it gets too high, just sing and dance a little bit, and it will probably pass. So I have been studying A Course of Love lately, and I had studied it a little before, and I'm studying it a little again. I'm in our Course of Love class. I'm not the teacher of the class. I'm actually taking the class. Our teacher is Reverend Kim Wilson. Kim, if you're watching, Reverend Kim, hello. It's very interesting, and it's great. Now, some people have said that A Course of Love is like the next step from A Course in Miracles, and that's an idea that's out there. I don't know if I want to address that. It might be true. But what I get from A Course of Love is that it's not really a different teaching. Jesus isn't giving us a different teaching, but he's basically correcting the mistaken way that people have been thinking about A Course in Miracles. That's all. It's just correcting it because we've gotten off track with this strange other way of thinking about it that it's not about being happy. It is definitely about being happy, that it's not about healing the world and having an elevated experience here in the world. Course of Love apparently is still channeled by Jesus, and Jesus talks about us becoming the elevated self of form and manifesting a world that the elevated self of form would manifest, which is a healed, happy, wonderful, joyful world. As again, I don't know if it's anything new, but it is new from the old entrenched way of thinking about A Course in Miracles. Now, in the same video where this teacher said that the happy dream meant you really weren't supposed to be happy, I was confronted with another thing that, again, just boggled my mind. This teacher was saying that if you study A Course in Miracles, that a lot of misguided people who study A Course in Miracles think it's about training them to teach A Course in Miracles, and it was definitely not that. That you shouldn't think that you should ever be a teacher of A Course in Miracles. Now, that's really interesting considering that he was up on a podium teaching A Course in Miracles. So how do you reconcile those ideas? It's not about teaching A Course in Miracles, but here I am teaching you A Course in Miracles. And then this teacher also went on to say that anybody who forms a church about A Course in Miracles and even going to groups was incredibly misguided. All of those kinds of things. And that's what everybody does. I mean, A Course in Miracles groups have been fundamental since the start of A Course in Miracles. They're kind of one of those givens that are put into the mind. Everybody knows you should get together and join with other people and talk about these things. It was just very strange that this teacher was saying that all these students were misguided or deluded or not really wanting to do the hard work. Again, A Course in Miracles is hard. Not really wanting to do the hard work of digging in there and rooting out your ego and forgiving and all those, again, making A Course in Miracles hard, telling people that they shouldn't be teachers of A Course in Miracles, and telling people that it's not really about being happy. I mean, honestly, I declare my independence from any such foolishness. It's self-evident to me that that's not true. I declare self-evident truths about A Course in Miracles. We are supposed to be happy. We are all supposed to teach it in whatever way it is given us to teach it. And I think we all are given many ways to teach it because we all are ministers of God, like the Course says in Lesson 154. I am among the ministers of God. Let us today be neither arrogant nor falsely humble. We have gone beyond such foolishness. Those ideas are really foolish. They're foolish. We have to declare our independence from foolish ideas about A Course in Miracles and start embracing the truth about A Course in Miracles, that indeed we are here to be happy. We're indeed here to manifest a real world. The world is in our minds. I am not in the world. We walk through our own thoughts. That's the appearance. We're just walking through our own minds. If we could get that, our experience again would be incredibly different. Another thing that I've encountered in A Course of Love, and it talks about when we think that we're isolated people in a physical world, that's just like equating us with a dot. And it talks about the dot of self. Basically, Jesus is telling us in A Course of Love, don't be the dot of self. Be the elevated self of form. And I like that. So again, I declare my independence from being the dot of self, which would be a spiritual being walking through a physical world. That's the dot of self. I declare myself to be the elevated self of form, which means that the world is just simply within my mind, and my mind is so vast that it is the world. The world is us. The world is our minds. In the reading that Reverend Kelly read, it says, "We will not play such childish games today, for our true purpose is to save the world." Here it is again. "And we will not exchange for foolishness the endless joy our function offers us. We would not let our happiness slip by because a fragment of a senseless dream happened to cross our minds, and we mistook the figures in it for the Son of God, its tiny instant for eternity." That's all this world actually is. It's just a tiny instant. And the figures, the bodies that we see, they're not the holy child of God. They're not the elevated self of form. We are so vast. We are the totality of the universe. We are the totality of the world that we seem to find ourselves in. The world is in our minds. We are not in our world. And I think this is what we have to declare our independence from. So we hold these truths to be self-evident, sacred, and undeniable, that all women and men are created equal, and that they are endowed, the Accords of Love concept, like given, they are endowed, they are given by their Creator, by the divine, when the divine extended him herself, certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Any teacher, any thought system that might tell you that your path is not about happiness, use Independence Day and the energy of Independence Day, 4th of July, and declare your independence from any such foolish, totally absurd belief. Happy Independence Day. Thank you very much.